Hey guys and gals, Vail VR just had a massive announcement, and so I wanted to make a video to kind of break it down, kind of go over everything that is on the page, and then explain why it is indeed an extremely important announcement, and give my thoughts on it. So, as you can kind of see here, it's get a piece of AEXLAB, virtual reality technology and games. AEXLAB, Miami-based company. Essentially, what this is they opened up the ability to invest, but that isn't the only thing that is here. They put a lot more information into this. So I'm gonna come back to this in a little bit, but. First off, I'm gonna kind of look at the pitch here, and then we'll go from there. There's a lot here. So, a new era of social, immersive gaming. The gaming industry has become a giant in entertainment, now earning more than music and movies combined. $184.4 billion in revenue in 2022. Gaming isn't just for hardcore fans anymore. It's a global phenomenon. Digital platforms like Twitch and YouTube have transformed how games connect, making it easier for brands to engage with dedicated audiences. This shift has opened up exciting opportunities for creative collaborations and targeted marketing, making gaming, a key player in shaping the future of entertainment. So this is a pie chart of gaming, and just look at this. Look at this. It's beaten out music and movies by a severe margin. And while it seems mobile is most of this, with PC being shortly after, VR still is a decent little chunk here, right? Now, obviously, it's not super big now, but it will be. It's significantly bigger now than it used to be. It used to be like down here. Yeah, VR has came a long way. Now, major companies including Meta, Apple, Google, Sony, and HTC are competing to own their share of the next major hardware platform, which is virtual reality. This is what it's talking about here. Now, this is kind of going over some evolutions of VR. I'm sure this is an entire video in itself because this is huge. But we went from having those giant arcade cabinets just to play Pac-Man and Space Invaders to being able to play Super Mario at home on your NES and whatever, to eventually moving on to Call of Duty and all that. And this is obviously skipping a lot of stuff, but then it eventually led to the PC, obviously a computer, which is different from a console because it's got usually has a lot more going on. Obviously, I'm kind of dumbing that down, but you also get down to your mobile, tiny little thing, and then you get to your VR. Now, started to get big with Half-Life Alyx here, which yeah, now we're here at Vail, so we'll see how this continues, because we're getting to the point where VR headsets are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So maybe one day we'll get to being so small it's closer to Ready Player One than brick on your face. But yeah, now we have a quote from Mark Zuckerberg, the man everybody thinks is an alien. Mobile is the platform of today, and now we're creating to get ready for the platforms of tomorrow. Obviously, they gotta say this. But the flagship product, introducing Vail VR. Now, obviously, people that have watched this channel before, you guys should probably know what this game is, because I've spent the past several months doing quite a bit of videos on this in the grand scheme of things. And there's going to be even more coming. But Vail VR is a rising franchise with a global fan base and an ideal showcase of the technologies developed by AEXLAB. Yes, that is... If I haven't heard a truer statement about a VR game, this is right here. Obviously, I don't know how accurate this part is, but an ideal showcase of technologies developed by AEXLAB. They have done an incredibly good job with Unreal Engine. It may have taken them a year or so, but they figured it all out. It's consistently top-selling, top-rated, and popular title in the MetaQuest store. It's a live service game. Every software update further strengthens its market position. That is very true. It's gotten bigger with every update. There's a graph showing that here in a little bit. Now, AEXLAB's first goal is to solidify the infrastructure needed to develop premium VR multiplayer titles efficiently. Technologies, pipelines, tools, and backend proven stable. Teams ramping up development of content to further strengthen its market position. Okay, to dumb it down to your basic audience, think Call of Duty. You know how they get their yearly releases, right? So, essentially what they're working on is getting their engine to the point with their specific version of Unreal Engine. I believe what they're saying here is they're getting it to a point where they can pump out content a lot faster and then make future titles come out even faster too, so it doesn't take the 7 or so years that it took that build this game to build future projects. Now, this is where I might spend a little bit of time. Only the beginning. This was confirmed by Tropical that this is their official roadmap. And, man, this is where it gets interesting. Guys, gals, and everything in between. So we have our engine. Obviously, I just touched on that. That is the infrastructure to get this game in a good place to actually work. That's that's like the foundation. Then you got your combat, the basic things that make your game work, which was this. And then they built up the esports. And then they got the social aspect, which was the social hub, avatar customization. So basically, more skins and all that. And then friends and parties and spatial audio. And then, now they're trying to make, this is our next step for them, which is an extraction mode. Now this is interesting. They have environmental hazards, adaptive AI threats, and dynamic NPCs. So, adaptive AI, think this is the type of thing that as you play, the AI tries to adapt how you're playing to, it really depends on the style, because sometimes they make it harder based upon how you're playing. So say you only get headshots and you're really good at getting headshots, then maybe the AI gets some helmets or something that makes headshots harder. Or say you like playing stealthily, they'll set up traps or other things that make it harder to do that. And then so it's constantly trying to challenge the player in their own play style while also allowing them to change it up if they need to or want to. And dynamic NPCs, I believe, kind of fall into that. Now, what I'm curious to see how this might work is environmental hazards. Now, not a lot of games have actually done a lot with this, specifically in VR, so it makes me genuinely curious to see how exactly they're going to pull this off, because environmental hazards, this is like This could be anything from flooding to a tornado to maybe a house collapsing or something. Obviously, I don't think they're going to go for that immediately. That might be something that comes a lot later. But they could really do a lot of interesting things there. Maybe some form of gas or something that's easy to start with. Now, extraction modes, obviously, we have a lot of examples of extraction games recently. Now, obviously, we have the obvious one for VR, which is Ghosts of Tabor, which that is considered by many people to be an amazing extraction shooter. Another example would be DMZ, which a lot of people have mixed feelings about, and I personally really enjoyed DMZ. I played it a ton. I was one of those people who played that more than the multiplayer during Modern Warfare 2's life cycle. So I think to differentiate from Tabor, I think ideally it would make the most sense for dev team to go more in a DMZ direction than Tabor direction, because Tabor is basically Tarkov in VR, and we don't want to have this one being basically the same thing. But regardless, I do know the gunplay and feeling of the game, it works really well, and it would make this work regardless of how they pull this off, because hey, it might not be for everyone, it might not, but if they do this right and they pull this off, this could be very, very impressive. This could be a very cool mode. So I look forward to seeing what the devs cook up on this. Now this one is probably going to be the most controversial part on this list here, and that is a battle royale. Now, coming from Pop 1 before I played Vail, I know recently there's been a lot of battle royales influxing into this game. Not into this game, but the game of VR. You obviously have Showdown, and you're gonna have, I think, Atlas Endgames, and then you obviously have Pop 1. I think there's one other, but I can't remember its name off the top of my head. Now, Battle Royale, I brought up the definition here. Battle Royale is a fiercely contested fight or dispute. Another example here. I brought up the whole Merriam-Webster's dictionary, which, A, definition, a fight participated in by more than two combatants. One in the last fighter of the ring or last fighter standing is declared the winner. A violent struggle or a heated dispute. Alright? So, with that in mind, I'm showing this, don't mind this. I'm showing this as a example. Give me a second. Gotta pull it up. So, there is a quote-unquote battle royale, which isn't necessarily a battle royale. You can kind of see this on screen. It is the Division Survival. Now, this was from the original Division game, and it was a very interesting idea of a mode. So essentially, instead of having a circle that closes, it was, you had an illness. You had sepsis, I think. So it is a race against the clock, and then it's a PvE or PvE mode. Now this is more akin to an extraction shooter because you're essentially trying to achieve a certain objective while you're, and then you extract, and it's a survival mode, but it does have battle royale elements to the same way that it's described. Now what is my point here? What is my point? My point is, AEXLAB, if they want to do a battle royale, they got to do the battle royale right. They can't just copy and paste from another mode. They got to do something different. They got to do something unique, right? Now, obviously, Contractors Showdown has their whole contractors feel with 60 players or whatever it is, and insurance, where you can buy people back and then you can insure yourself so you don't have to get bought back yourself. And Pop 1 has its unique ability where you can climb everything, ignoring obviously the two modes that are a little different from each other, but they both have their own unique flair that sets them apart from each other. Now obviously a lot of comparisons come up, so my thought process here was showing with the Division 1 survival. Obviously I couldn't show you the Steam page, which I was meaning to do, but essentially they can do something a little bit more unique. Maybe instead of staying in a team, maybe it's a solo only mode or something that makes it different. They gotta do something that, sets it apart. Now obviously it's a large scale survival, exploration, scavenging, so we don't know for sure exactly what this means. For all we know, this could be an expansion of this that is a PvP mode with some AI in there a little bit, and then it's kind of like the Division mode, which honestly that might work out pretty uniquely. But regardless, this is something that if they get it right, it could be, again, something that could be really good. Now obviously you have a lot of people already being like, oh no, this is gonna be terrible, but I have high hopes. These devs, they might not have always done everything perfectly. I mean, all humans make mistakes, but we gotta have a little bit of grace with them and let them kind of do their thing. Now obviously this was a bit of a surprise, but a campaign, solo or with friends, discover the vast world of Vail. Now this, knowing what they already have done with the lore, they can make this could be a really, really cool sci-fi story, kind of more aligned with, say, something that is similar to Halo in locales and everything, or general sci-fi-ness, but its own unique spin. More, they could really do a lot of interesting things here. There's a lot of different ideas, and honestly, this might be worth a video of its own. Same with both of these two. I might make a video discussing both of these and how they could pull this off in different ways. But I need to do a little bit more looking into this to actually make a solid video discussing stuff. But then we get to something that feels like it's straight out of Halo, and I mean this in the best way possible. This is user-generated levels, game modes, cosmetics, and unknown. So we don't know what unknown means. For all we know, this could be something really... This could be the next stage of the roadmap. This could be something else entirely. But user-generated levels, game modes, etc. This feels like a Forge mode, or a creative mode, if you will. Which other VR games have done this, obviously. You have your They've done this in both Pavlov and Contractors, if I'm not mistaken. But they could do something different with this if they do it right. They could do this. They could do something really unique. Instead of doing the whole mod thing, maybe, they could do more of a extension of the game. More, kind of look at more how Halo does their Forge. Which obviously, that's still, I guess, technically you could consider that mods, but yeah, this one's interesting. I would like to have more information on this one, because this one, I want to see how this would work, because the thing that might be a little odd is the cosmetics right here, because of how they do the current system. It would probably be akin to how they've done it in CS:GO or other things, but I don't know for sure. Now, obviously, this is where things get interesting. So, in a different manner, this is the market share. So, statistics. Now, I'm no professional with statistics, but I'm gonna try to give my best to describe this a little bit for you guys. So since the 1.0 release, community response been unbelievable. Yes, I can agree with that. This community is pretty cool. Now traction, Vail VR numbers. So this one, 5.5 million lifetime company revenue. That's going to be mentioned a little bit later. Over time, there has been 225,000 people that have played this game. And the average growth has been 1,307%. That is a massive growth from 23 to 24. And then 72,000 monthly active. That is pretty good too, specifically for a VR game. Now, I think some other games have around that much too, but yeah, it's interesting. So this is the actual statistics of the monthly active gamers. Obviously, so that was what the one page was that wasn't driving. I did the average. So obviously, you get to July. If you notice, gray is 2023, and then yellow is 24. And just look at the comparison in numbers. January there was a little bit more, only about 1,000 from prior year. But then once you get to February, after 1.0 and the parties update, you start getting more people. And then it drops a little bit in April because they weren't updating as much. And then May, giant increase. Got bigger. A little bit in June too. And then I think there was a small update in June, July, somewhere in the middle there. And then we got a little bit of an increase. And then we haven't got the August numbers yet, but I'm gonna guess it's gonna be as big, if not bigger, because of the 1.0 or 1.2. Yeah, that is a massive growth. But if you look at the average, which I think they calculated a bit of that, the average of this was from beginning of the year to now. Basically, it started at February. I'm gonna round up, but this was 45,333 is the average increase in players. So the average was 45,000 people per month, which is pretty good for a new game that has been updating it frequently. Now, obviously, I know that's going to change. They made mention of that back in there. Now, this is obviously the whole pitch back to the, oh yeah, these are the awards that it's won. And I still think it's cool that they got the People's Voice Best VR Game, Webby, and VR Game of the Year for 22. And then you get, this is one of the best reviewed games I've ever seen. 4.9. Call of Duty, how they have this massive IP and how that can get them money over time. Esports, self-explanatory. Merch, also self-explanatory. Investors, they started off with Start Engine in 2021. They've attracted investment and support from top-tier venture capitalists. The community is invited to join. So obviously this is what it's making. VR gaming. Games like Call of Duty and Halo sprouting up, and the first-person shooter landscape that started off very, very small, kind of like this game has, and slowly got bigger and bigger until now. Obviously, they've started to drop off a little bit recently, but they are huge IPs. Topping some of the top sellers when they first come out. And so Vail, they're trying to aspire to be the next big one. The next big VR esport and game. Next big thing. Now, obviously not everyone has gotten into VR yet. I suspect that it has gotten bigger and bigger over the years. But I genuinely believe that it's going to slowly get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you eventually get yourself to until it's the next big thing. It's obviously going to take some time to get there. It's not going to be immediate. But that is where this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Obviously, this video here, this is, I'm going to play this at the very end after I finish talking, but, essentially, what this opportunity is here is the ability to invest in AEXLAB, and this is where we're coming back to reasons to invest. I'm going to talk about rewards in a second, but reasons to invest is obviously you got your big investor companies, whatever, and they got partnerships with Meta and Sony, and down here, I think they showcased, they showcased for publishing. They're looking to get on PlayStation VR, Pico, and Apple. Apple, that's going to be a big deal because, Now, right now, from my understanding of how this works, it isn't actually investing yet. You're not actually putting your money into it yet, but it will. This is something that it's to gauge interest in investing, and if they get enough people that want to invest, then or enough money to invest, then they'll actually do it. Maybe subject to change. This can very much, all of this can change. I think the thing that is the most likely to happen out of everything in here is everything I discussed outside of the investment. From what it sounds like, I think the idea to be able to invest in this company, invest in AEXLAB, is a massive deal. It's a massive deal, guys. This is I cannot describe in words how important this could possibly be. Because as an investor, there's a lot of different things that an investor can give you access to. Obviously, you have the whole stock market thing where you can sell your shares later on and earn your money back. But as an investor, they also have made multiple mentions of mentions of some various insider looks at the game and all that. There's been a couple mentions. I think he also said that investors get special skins. I think that's what Mr. AEX Tropical has said. And then I think there's also a couple other little tidbits that are kind of like sugar on top. But overall, I think if you got the money and are looking to invest in the stock market, and this is a game you care a lot about, or game dev team that you are interested in, this is something that could really be an amazing way to go. This could be a potential. It's probably going to be a little risky. I'm not an economics guy. I'm not the most knowledgeable in that field. I'm more knowledgeable in some of the other social studies. But this is something that could potentially be a really good investment for you if you have the money to do so. Now, obviously, if you're kind of struggling a little bit financially, this investing in here might not be the greatest idea, but if you can invest, if you got the money to, I think there's a specific amount that you have to do, but if you can invest, this is a great opportunity to do so. But yeah, with that in mind, I'll play the video.
Here at AEXLAB, we're trying to create the world's best virtual reality first-person shooter franchise.
The first few years we were working out of a storage unit in Miami. It had no windows, it had no natural light. We were able to isolate ourselves and just work.
As we continued developing Vail, we wanted to do it with the community, and we didn't want to be held back by publishers and lose our creative control.
We went to the public and we asked for help.
In 2021, we raised over $2 million thanks to the Start Engine community. The support of the community is what gave us the boost we needed to continue developing Vail until finally, in 2024, we launched Vail 1.0 cross-platform on Steam VR and MetaQuest.
So Vail is built on on a highly customized version of Unreal Engine 5. Maintaining this engine is something we care very much about because we want to continue to scale and grow horizontally and vertically and leverage what we've built for more titles and apps. Now that we've got all these pipelines, we have what we feel is the dream team in VR. We're very excited to build this universe of apps and games, all making the best use possible of what we've already built.
We've come a long way since our first Start Engine campaign, but we're just getting started. As we continue to grow alongside VR, we plan on continuing to build a whole universe of experiences across multiple genres and franchises. We want to build it for you, for our community.
We've already done the hard work, one could say, so it's just about taking the next step.
Invest today and help build the future of VR gaming.
I want to thank everyone who's watched this far for making it to the end of the video. Leave your thoughts down below. What do you think? What do you guys think? Do you think this is a big deal? Do you like the idea that they're opening up for investing? Do you like what they revealed on this roadmap here? Leave your thoughts and comments down below, and hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. See you around.